Well, hello there, darkness of man. What is it? Is it one guy who lives alone and has one room where the lights are on? That's darkness of man. Or maybe it's one of those nights where you take a little too much of the sauce and you black out, can't remember anything. I've had both type of darknesses happen to me plenty of times over my life, but I was still a bit unsure what darkness of man means. But luckily, they made a movie about it, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. And if you know Van Damme, he's one of my favorite actors. And no, I'm not kidding, it's not a joke. He's actually in my top 10 favorite actors list, check out that video. I explain it more there. There are reasons why he made the list, and quite high, I might say. But yeah, Van Damme, I always loved Van Damme, so, I saw he was coming out with new movie, and it's Darkness of Man, and I've never reviewed any Van Damme movies on my channel. I've mostly reviewed just some gross shit like Serbian film or Trauma and Human Centipede and stuff like that, so I figured why not give this new Van Damme movie a try? Cause I bet not a lot of people are reviewing these new Van Damme movies, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna review Darkness of Man, which is the new Van Damme movie. Came out this year, just like a couple of weeks ago, month ago. It hasn't been out that long, at least when I'm filming this. Different story when this video actually comes out, how long I take to edit this. Could be Christmas 2025, I don't know. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this on this channel, but I'm on a bit of a mission, which is to buy every Van Damme movie there ever been made. So yeah, I'm not missing too many. Under 10? Maybe? And most of them are post-2010 movies, which are those Van Damme action movies that aren't really the greatest. But hey, maybe this is a masterpiece. Okay, I guess we'll go over the story real quick here, cause there ain't much. It's a Van Damme action movie, so...
You want another?
Yeah, just leave the bottle, please.
Rough night tonight.
Van Damme is an Interpol agent called Russell Hatch. And Russell Hatch has a friend who is a Korean woman. And she is part of a Korean mafia. Or some Korean gang. Something like that. Gang, mafia, I don't know what you call Korean gangs. Or mafias. Anyway, she wants out. But I'm not sure if you know this. You can't just walk out of the mafia or gangs. So they pretty much waste her. But before she gets wasted, she makes Van Damme, or Russell Hatch, I'm just gonna call him Van Damme. She makes Van Damme promise her that if anything would happen to her, he would have to take care of her son. Kinda lucky accidental life insurance for the kid there. So yeah, we jump 2 years forward, and Van Damme is pretty much drunk.
Sorry to disturb you. Looks like you're working hard.
Go fuck yourself. I work hard. You're an alcoholic.
He is still taking care of the kid. I mean, they don't live together or anything. Van Damme's mostly just driving the kid to school and back and wherever he needs to go and stuff like that. Van Damme's pretty much an alcoholic. But he has a cat, which is freaking awesome. And he's also fucking a vet, which is handy because if the cat gets anything, the vet's right there in the bed. Anyway, then in the picture steps in the Russian mob, and guess what? They don't like the Korean mob, so it becomes kind of a turf war thingy, Russians, Koreans, and then there's the kid who was called Jaden. I couldn't really remember, not really that great of an actor. Not a lot of good actors in this movie. Anyway, Jaden's uncle is one of the mob members, and he wants to introduce Jaden into the mob life in Korean mafia, Korean gang. But guess what? Van Damme made a promise to take care of the kid, so being in a Korean mafia isn't really taking care of the kid, so he's obviously against the whole idea of him being in Korean mafia or gang. Anyway, basically at some point the kid gets kidnapped, and Van Damme tries to find the kid by taking out Russian mobs and Korean mobs, and that's about it. When it comes to the story of this movie, it won't blow your mind in any level, pretty much. It's pretty simple, a broken down, alcoholic, introverted guy who just wants to be left alone. I mean, he doesn't even let Jaden come into his apartment, He just kind of fucks the vet and then kicks her out, pretty much.
Hey, buddy.
Be gone before I come back.
But he does seem to kind of like the vet, or what do you call the whole goddamn word? Veteran. Okay, so I googled the word and I still can't say it. Veterinarian? Vet. Where was I going with this? Yeah, Van Damme also kind of likes the vet, but he likes to be alone, so he doesn't want her to stay in Van Damme's apartment. He likes his privacy and his cat. which is great. I love cats, and cat lovers are a-okay in my books. I did find the storytelling in this movie kind of interesting. I was digging it at places. At places it was kind of boring and bland, but there were times when it just came off as this kind of... well, the movie starts with Van Damme being shot and apparently dying or something. He's just in pain and he's bleeding from his gut, and he starts telling the story how he got there. And the movie kind of feels at times like it's this some sort of a real dark French detective noir kind of story. Because of Van Damme's accent, I'm gonna say French. No other reason. And I gotta say, I kind of like it, and I think Van Damme's actually pretty good at narrating stuff. I mean, he's really improved from the 90s when it comes to speaking English, but he also still has that sexy French accent. I can't do it. I just sound like fucking idiot with it. But yeah, I really like the style of Van Damme narrating. They should actually make a real detective movie and have Van Damme narrate it.
The walls are closing in. They've been keeping tabs on me. I knew it was only a matter of time before they tried to pull me back in.
It just kind of follows him, and then there's the narration, so that kind of gives it the detective noir style. And also the kind of scenes and settings, I really like them at times. They're like really dark alleyways. A couple of times there's just really good cinematography, another word I hate, but you know, the scene just kind of looks really good. I'm really digging it. Like one of my favorite scenes is when Van Damme is doing some sniper rifle action. He's laying on this roof or something, and there's the moon behind him, and that scene just looked really great. I really loved that. The problem is though that at times the movie doesn't look that good. At most times it just kind of looks like kind of bland, but there seems to be some kind of vision there. I feel like the director was kind of ripped in two, like he wanted to make some kind of detective noir film which is really gritty and thrillery-like, and but on the other hand he was kind of self-aware. He was making a Van Damme action movie, one of those post-2010 action movies which aren't his greatest. So there's elements of both, and the detective noir stuff is really good. I'm really enjoying that, and that's great, but then there's the regular Van Damme post-2010 action movie stuff which I'm just not kind of liking that much. I'm not saying I'm hating it, but it's kind of bland and boring. Also, one of the biggest problems is that all the other actors except Van Damme aren't really that great. There's Van Damme's neighbor, who is kind of like the comical relief guy. It's like he's doing a whole different movie, and it just doesn't really fit, and he's really not like that funny. I'm not digging him. Then there's the son, or you know, who Van Damme's taking care of, Jaden. He's just so kind of also kind of bland. He's some, I don't know, Asian actor. I don't know who he was.
Jaden, do you know where you would be if I wasn't here to protect you? You would be dead like your mother.
The actors in this movie weren't so good that I'd have any interest in finding out who they actually are. There was also Van Damme's son, Chris Van Damme, and he's always been really bad. But in this movie, I gotta give him credit. He's just only for a small scene. He's one of those Russian gangsters. In this movie, he's probably the best he's ever been in that small scene, but it ain't much, so...
You know this symbol? Huh? The Brigada boys. Paranis Brigade, huh? Suka.
He's getting better, and I think he's find some kind of niche. He could play, you know, more Russian bad guys, so that seems to fit. Then there's the Korean gang and the uncle who's trying to get Jaden to join the Korean mafia or gang. He's alright, I guess, but yeah, nothing mind-blowing. All the Korean gang members kind of are, I don't know, it's like there's really no depth to the characters or anything like that. They're more like they're gang members in a music video, if that makes any sense. They're not like, they're just trying to be kind of flashy for the moment, because, well, you know, this seems cool, so we'll act like this, or we'll do this, and in the end it doesn't translate into very deep character or anything, so yeah, it's not really working. The Russian mafia members are actually better, but they ain't nothing to cheer with either, so yeah. The vet, who Van Damme's fucking, she was actually pretty decent, and I was bothered by her throughout the movie, and I mean, she's not really like that much in the movie, but she is in few scenes, and I was like, who the hell is she? Because she was actually actually a decent actress. I kind of liked her, except it felt like she and Van Damme were kind of in two different movies also, but they were both better actors compared to the rest, but still doing kind of different things. But yeah, her I actually googled, and turns out she's actually a Kristana Locke, and I was like, why is that name so goddamn familiar? She was in Terminator 3. She was a TX, the bad Terminator, the female Terminator. So yeah, that's where I've seen her before. Terrible movie, but so was this. But she was decent. She was decent. And even though it's been like, I don't know what, 20 years since Terminator 3, she's still hot. Van Damme's a lucky guy. But yeah, definitely Van Damme is the best actor in this. And some of you are laughing now. Ha 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 ha. But I'm telling you, Van Damme, he ain't a bad actor. Watch JCVD, he's fucking fantastic in that, and there are some other moments too in other movies where he's actually really good actor. I will die on this hill, but I say Van Damme is actually a good actor when he wants to be, or when there's a good director or something, I don't know. He should do more less actiony movie and more dramatic movies. He seems to be way better in those. Maybe even French-speaking Last Mercenary, which came to Netflix like 2019. I loved that movie. I mean, yeah, sure, it wasn't like a fantastic movie, but it was really entertaining and great. You know, a French action comedy. Go check it out. It's on Netflix. It's free. I believe it's on Netflix still. But I know why we're all watching Van Damme movies. It's because of the action. The action. So how was the action in this movie? Brutal. I mean, the gunplay was brutal. I was surprised. I was actually kind of like, fuck. I mean, Van Damme blows one guy's fingers off. You can really see it, you know. And there's also the sniper scene. That was fantastic, you know. There was this Russian mob guy he was trying to get, and he had a driver, and there was other guy on the front, and Van Damme shot the driver and the other guy, and that was actually a pretty cool scene. I really dug that scene. You know, the blood just kind of splattered from the guys, and it was surprisingly brutal. Also, there's one scene where Van Damme slices one guy's stomach, and you can actually see guts. Little, they're not hanging like, you know, sausages like on the floor or anything. They're just kind of wanting to get out, but they ain't fully out, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this was surprisingly brutal at times. But then when it comes to hand-to-hand action, well, Van Damme's older, he's not really kicking in this one, so it's more kind of more grittier and actually, in a way, more realistic than usually in Van Damme movies. I mean, he's getting his ass whooped too, plenty of times. This is more a kind of realistic take on the hand-to-hand combat, in a way. Which I appreciate, but I do appreciate the Van Damme action too, the regular Van Damme action where he's doing all the kicks and shit like that. But yeah, in this one, it's kind of a chore to beat up guys, unlike most of his movies where he's just beating up guys left and right, like they're nothing. Actually, Van Damme has always kind of been the type of action hero who gets his ass kicked at least a little bit at some point, so you know, he's not like Steven Seagal, who is untouchable in movies, which got quite old fast. But yeah, in the end, when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, it's not like anything special. Probably my favorite scene was at this garage. There was his neighbor, and then there was the kid in the back seat of a car, and Van Damme's fighting two guys outside the car. It's all shot from inside the car. And I like how the camera just kind of keeps turning inside the car and Van Damme's fighting off those, you know, bad guys there. But it's kind of missing some weight. There were few scenes where there was more weight in the hand-to-hand combat. There was this one in a small toilet stall fight where he's kind of there's one guy who's hitting the wall and cracking his wrist or something. That felt like more brutal, but the fight at the garage, which was my favorite still, there was still missing like something. Van Damme's getting older and his kind of hit rhythm is feeling a bit older also, because he doesn't really like do the pow 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 like Jackie Chan does or something. He has all these rhythms. You know, that was probably a terrible example, but he's got that weird rhythm thing usually, and it's getting slower as he gets older. Oh, and before I forget, Eric Roberts was in this movie too. Yeah, that was really random. He was just outside a food truck, and when it was his turn, he just turned around and said taco or something, or burrito, I can't remember, but it was Mexican food, definitely.
I want a burrito, put it loaded. Bye.
So immediately I was like, Eric Roberts is in this. I love Eric Roberts, by the way. Yeah, that was his only scene. Unless I missed him in somewhere, but that was his only scene. I don't know what the hell happened there. I think he might have been shooting a whole different movie and just happened to walk into the same food truck where they were shooting and they just decided to keep it. Such a weird random scene, but yeah, Eric Roberts was in this. Anyway, as a huge Van Damme fan, when it came to this movie overall, I was surprised by some bits and other bits it was kind of what I was expecting from his post 2010 action movies, and it wasn't like surprising. I'm not gonna say it was great movie or even really like that good. I really like the narration of Van Damme. I think he should really do some kind of French detective noir dark, movie, something like that. At some point, he really fits into that character in my opinion. And Van Damme was pretty much the best thing in this movie, easily. I like the brutality of some scenes, like the gut being sliced open and fingers and a couple of other scenes too. I like when in movies you shoot people, there's always like blood splatters. In this movie, there was blood splatters every time, from what I noticed. Sometimes in these kind of B-grade action movies, they just kind of shoot and people just fall down without the blood. Or maybe it's some really crappy CGI like poof, some kind of red dust cloud or something. That doesn't really work for me either. But this one surprised me in a positive way when it came to that. And the story is what it is. I didn't really care for the kid. I thought he was kind of bad actor, and Van Damme's relationship with the vet, they didn't really like do too much with that. She was just, I think they just kind of wanted some kind of romantic side story here, and it felt kind of forced at times. It was kind of cool to see Kristana look at something other than Terminator 3, because I don't remember seeing her. I probably have seen her in something else too, but I just can't remember it, can't get it in my head. Maybe she has done more action movies. I really need to check that out. I like her. I didn't like Terminator 3, but I like her. Cat. I love the cat. Obviously, I'm gonna love the cat. I love cats. But other than those, this was kind of a mediocre. I'd say it's probably a notch above mediocre when you compare it to usually the kind of Eastern European action movies that are shot in Eastern Europe. I'm not sure if this one was shot in Eastern Europe, the whole movie and all, because I think it's just cheap place to shoot movies, so they tend to do all those old action star action movies over there, Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Scott Adkins, I believe too, shoots a lot of movies in Eastern Europe. So yeah, when it comes to giving this movie a score, I think I'm gonna go with 6 out of 10, and that's if you're a huge Van Damme fan like me. If you're not, then probably like 5 out of 10. Then it's kind of mediocre, but if you like Van Damme, then 6 out of 10 I believe is the number to go with. But that was that review, and you can fuck off, and I'm gonna fuck off too, and we'll meet back here when I upload some other crap. I don't know, maybe I'll do another review or something. I usually do these single movie reviews of movies that are kind of like really disturbing or something, but I figured I'm such a huge Van Damme fan, I'm gonna give the new Van Damme movie a try. I don't want to do some AAA Hollywood shit, but I might do like these kind of action movies that are about to be forgotten the minute they get released, pretty much. So I hope this one gets at least decent audience though. It kind of deserves it. It at least deserves a peek from Van Damme fans. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna go now. Goodbye.
Looks like you're working hard.